Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request. It's time for Lucas. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, reviews, commentaries, re-reviews, whatever it may be, feel free to send them either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this time I'm doing a commentary for Lucas on an episode of the 2003 Ninja Turtles cartoon called Meet Casey Jones. Now, before I do this, let me mention, I did one of these, not for this type of thing, but for something else. It was a reaction. And some guy got really mad going, he's not showing it. Why isn't it for the Dark Side of the Ring episode? This is not how you do a reaction. Number one, there is no fucking rules for it. You do a reaction any way you want. That's number one. Number two, no. If I can't show it, then I can't show it. Because there'd be no point in showing it if it gets blocked. If it's something that I know won't get blocked and people are not going to care, then sure, I'll do it and I'll show it. But if it's something like this, which there is, you gotta pay to watch the episode, then yeah, it would get blocked. And people are wanting my reaction to it, not for you to see a free episode. I'm not Pokimane or whatever the hell her name was, or this other YouTube shit. If people want to see the episode, you can find it on your own and sync it up, and Lucas and people are wanting my reaction to it. So to that guy, tough titty. But to Lucas, hope you enjoy, hope others enjoy. I'm paused at the beginning. I'll count down a little bit. And this is one of the early episodes of Season 1 of the 2003 cartoon called Meet Casey Jones. It might have been the second or third episode. It was the second or third episode. But 3, 2, 1, pressing play. So we have Rafael narrating as he's ready to fight Casey Jones. I enjoyed the first episode or two, but this one I think really made me fall in love with the show. Now, I've never been a fan of the music. I've never been a fan of the theme song. I love the show a lot, but I've always said that this theme song I always thought was lame. Now, for those who don't know, I saw this show back in the day when it debuted. I remember I was living in another part of Texas, actually. I was working at a Target where I would have to get up, go to work, unload trucks, stock, and you have to be there like at 4 a.m. So this is back to the days of VHS tape. Still had a VCR, and I would put a blank tape in and try to record so I could watch it later on. And then really like, wow, this is really cool. They're bringing back the Turtles, and it's more of an action show, and it's darker, and you know, the way it looks. And this episode especially is like, wait, I think this is the episode that's one of the most important episodes for Raphael's character. And anytime I think of the Raphael character, this episode comes into play, which is based on something that happened in the comic books, where Mighty pushes him so far that he snaps, and we'll see he's ready to hit his baby brother with a pipe. And that kind of, like, that's some serious shit. That's some deep, serious shit. And that's why I think there's a lot of abilities you could use for a character. You could really delve into character-wise, psychological-wise. You go in a bit too deep. But you can. That's my point. You can. You're able to do it. And that's the thing. He's so far gone. He's not knowing what he's doing. This blind rage. You know, seeing red, as they call it. And that's where he snaps out. He doesn't really get what he was doing. Rage is a monster that will destroy you from within. A true warrior finds balance. And you just hear the guilt. And who's the guy that's ready to go after him? Mighty. And this bit here where he's like, what is wrong with me? And I'm like, wow, I just saw character development in a fucking cartoon. That was more character development on Rafael than all 8 or 9 seasons of the original Turtles cartoon. I think I had seen this, and then I looked up the comic books after. Because I like this as a bit of backstory on Casey Jones. And you find out that his father owned that place and these purple dragons burned it down. I always thought they had to pick the right voice actor, not just for Raphael, but for Casey Jones. Because Casey Jones in the 80s cartoon, he just sounded like Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry, and he appeared like in 5 episodes. But here, he was an ongoing character, like in the comics, and, you know, became good friends with Raphael. Now again, I grew up with the 80s cartoon like a lot of people, and I enjoyed it for what it was, and I can still watch it for nostalgia, but I don't watch it much. And then around the mid-late 90s, I kind of fell out of love for Ninja Turtles just because there wasn't really anything going on other than that live-action TV show. So then it wasn't until the late 90s, 97, 98, that we as a family finally got a computer. I looked up and I found something called fan fiction. And yeah, there was a lot of bad ones where, hey, this is a girl and I'm boyfriends with this turtle. But then there's others that actually delve deep into these characters, like, wow, you could do that? You could do that? You can make these characters? Okay, that... But it's like, well, why can't you? And then years later, I heard that they're making another show, and I see clips. I go, wow, this looks cool. I like the animation style. I like that it was more of an action show. And then that... So, and that's another part of the thing, that bit there where he was nice. He even called her ma'am. And she's like, keep away from me. It's like, wow, what a bitch. And yeah, this is based on the Raphael one-shot cover book, which they put a bit of that in the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, where you had Raphael and Casey have a fight. I wish they developed that more, but they kind of drop it. Which is weird because they bring it up, but then they don't follow through all the way. Which they did, I thought, a nice job in this and incorporating that into it. I thought this show did a nice job incorporating the different personalities of the characters. You have the Donnie that doesn't need glasses to tell us that he's smart. So we need to put glasses on him like he's Steve Urkel to make us understand he's a nerd. If you build it. That's a nice Field of Dreams reference. If you build it, we will ride. I thought they picked for the most part, the voices, that they worked very well for their personalities. I know some find Mighty annoying. He didn't bother me. I liked a lot of his interactions with Rafael because it kind of reminds me of back in the day I would watch the TV show The A-Team, where you had Mr. T and Dwight Schultz as B.A. Baracus and Howling Man Murdoch. And the way they interact is kind of how Rafael and Mikey interact. Because Rafael definitely can remind you of Mr. T, and then Mikey can be as crazy as Howling Man Murdoch. Here and now, a little bit of Rafael and Casey fight. And this went on for quite a few years. I would say the first 4 seasons are the best ones, in my opinion. Interesting choice to have all these different angles for this. You're too puny. And that's a little reference to the Three Stooges. Little sound effects and alright, tough guy. Little reference to like Moe there. He was doing a little bit of curly sound effects and then a little bit of Moe at the end there. Which is cool because I'm a big Three Stooges fan. Now this door is a reference to later on in the show where they get this unique technology and then they go underground, they find this city, and then there's people trapped and they help them out of it. But that also explains some of this tech that helps in some of their research later. And there are episodes called Notes from the Underground. It was about 3 parts, and then there's about 1 or 2 other episodes later on that reference that. That's the thing I liked about the show, is that there's a pretty decent amount of continuity, and there's a decent like story that there would be stuff set up that would be thought of later. Not all the time, but a lot of times they did a decent job of that. So when you watch them as a group, it becomes a little bit of a better story. Now, of course, with a cartoon, it's still a cartoon. They can't go too far. Like, you can't have the turtles kill like in a comic. But I like that Rafael also was just a badass in this. Like, he got hit, but then he hit the guy and knocked him to the wall. And then when he lets his guard down and tries to do the decent thing, the guy fucks him over. So you could say, you know, Rafael here does a better job than Rafael did in the 1990 movie. And it's funny, I think Kevin Eastman said one of the inspirations for Casey Jones was Jab Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. I could totally see that in this show. Like, the way Casey Jones is voiced, the way he acts, he does have that Jab Burton swagger to him. And while my favorite will always be Elias Koteas from the 1990 movie, this is my second favorite Casey Jones. In the 2012 cartoon, they had Casey Jones. He just seemed like a... I don't know. I just didn't really care for him. I think in the 2018 film, they made Casey Jones a girl for some reason. And then in the Michael Bay produced movie, they had a Casey Jones that... Oh, he's the guy from Arrow, and he's a fucking cop, and... gives a shit. But the animation, the lighting in this show is great. Like the use of shadows, the different angles they use. It's like a little bit of an anime influence. And they really make it hone in on the fact that this takes place at nighttime. And that they live in the shadows. It brings a nice atmosphere to the whole show, especially the first 4 seasons. After that, I didn't care for the Ninja Tribunal stuff. Back to this, Fast Forward, I liked as goofy as it is, but I think because I like the characters, I like seeing them in the future. But it is a step down in animation wise. But I like the different environment. I like the future setting. Back to the Sewers, I thought was mediocre. Like I said, Ninja Tribune is my least favorite, but the first four seasons are the best. And I like the Turtles Forever movie. It's, kind of these little details, like Mighty was the first to try to go after him, and Mighty's the first one to welcome him home. And Raph tries to apologize. And Raph gets angry, but he never has done that stuff ever again. And also, in a hidden way, kind of tells the story of Mighty's characters, that he's the guy who let things pass by him. He lets things just... He's a guy that... How do I put it? He's not holding a grudge deep down. And that's the thing, is that if you had good writers, you could really develop... He's the baby brother, so do people not take him that seriously? Or does he hide behind a smile? Does he hide behind laughter? Or is there something hidden down beneath him? And because of how hard their life is, he hides behind the smile and laughter. He's like, you know what? I looked at the bright side of things. I looked at the cool side of things. There's a lot of different elements you could look into. It's like, nah, we're not going to do that. They eat pizza. Did they eat pizza? Did they say cowabunga? Alright, cool. It's like, fuck. Shit, man. You can have stuff for kids, but make a fucking variety. Make one for the kids, then make one for the older audience. You can do that. And I think you would make money and make bank. But hey, what do I know? Instead, they make cartoons more and more for... This is the only cartoon that you could deal with an older audience. After that, no. I guess I should also mention this is the episode they make their shell, the battle shell, their van. Kind of a take on the turtle van in the original show. And kind of interesting that Don took the time to make a motorcycle. It's like, where the hell did you find time to do that? Like, where the hell did you find a motorcycle? Do motorcycles just get dropped somewhere in the junkyard? Do people just drop more? Well, maybe they do. I don't know. If anyone owns a junkyard, do they just drop motorcycles there? I wouldn't be surprised one of the reasons they made him wear a helmet is because kids will be watching, a little bit of safety. There you go, Casey. Should have worn more of a helmet. Well, I guess he did have a helmet, to be fair. I ain't no frog. I ain't a fucking Battletoad, dude. And they do a bit of development on the character where he meets April O'Neil and they start liking each other and they get married in one of the... technically the last episode, which was nice. And here's where you realize that Hun was a guy that fucked over his dad's place. So throughout the show, there'll be times where Casey Jones and Hun have a bit of going at each other. Again, these little details that make the show that much more satisfying as a watch. That's why I wish they would get a full release. I mean, I have a release thanks to a nice guy who made a Blu-ray set, but make it an official release. But I wish Rafael did have more solid solo episodes than this. The one where he goes blind, a kid helps him, was okay, but there's not a lot of Rafael solo episodes, which I don't understand. And I think with how good this is, I think there's a lot more you could have done. So that's, as much as I love the show, that's one of the few disappointments I have is, like, why isn't there a Raph and Mighty episode, and why wasn't there a Raph, more solid Raph solo episodes? But I'm a Raphael fan, what can I say? It was also nice to have the purple dragons, because it's not just the Foot. There are other bad guys. There's mafioso guys in other episodes. Here's the purple dragons. There's other types of villains for the turtles to fight. Mikey says, I'm the pretty one. Like, that made sense coming out of his mouth. He would say that. And the first time all five of them fighting together. I will admit, like, the fighting is very... there's more choreography, more martial arts into it compared to the original cartoon. Because after that initial couple episodes, it was more throw garbage at bad guys, or throw a sewer manhole at a bad guy. Here is a lot more of their weapons being used, punches, kicks, as much as you can get away with a cartoon. Like I said, really good animation. Nice choreography, nice movements. Rafael and Casey, two sides of the same coin. Man, that went by really quick. I mean, I swear it's been like 5 minutes, but it's been 20. Jesus. We're at the end credits, damn. But your Peter Laird, who was one of the creators of the Ninja Turtles, he was very heavy into this show. Because by that point, Kevin Eastman kind of went by. He's went to do Heavy Metal Magazine work on that, so Peter Laird was pretty much the sole owner. And in particular, the first season or two, I think maybe season 3 as well, a little bit maybe went back. Yeah, I still think he had they had a bit more freedom. But I remember when the DVDs came out, I was working at Target, and they would come out like 3 episodes per DVD. But I picked each of them up, and for the first couple, Peter Laird was being interviewed and talking about the show. About how they're going to be a bit more like the comics, as much as you can get away with as a cartoon. And they give credit, I paused here, Mike Sinter Nicholas as Leonardo. Sorry, I'm not good with names. Apologize. Wayne Grayson as Mikey, Sam Riedel as Donnie, and Frank Frankson as Raphael. Also have Mark Thompson as Casey Jones. Voice cast did a great job. Like I said, I'm not big on the music. I've never been big on the music. But other than that, the animation, the attempts of storyline, seriousness, trying to be more of an action show, just more of a badass, show the Turtles as badass. bit more development compared to the previous show. All those elements and more made it such a damn good viewing experience as a fan. And Sally, I don't think we're ever going to get that again. It fucking sucks, but... And my final thought is, this is the episode that to me is one of the best, more important episodes of the show, and the fact of, as a Rafael fan, anytime I think of the possibility of what you could do with this character, it always goes back to this episode and that event. Just think about it. You're someone who, this is your baby brother, you get to the point that you are almost bashing his brains in. What led to that? What could possibly have led to that? I think there's a... It was never going to be on the show, it's a kid's show, but there's a plentiful amount of opportunities, consequences afterward, developments beforehand that led to that you could just... The sky's the limit on that. And that, to me, to create a very interesting anti-hero, whether a journey for forgiveness, a journey to be a better person, to overcome your anger, to... There's just so many things you could play with that I could literally spend like 30 minutes on, so I won't. I could, like, that's what I mean, that I remember seeing it go, wow, that's serious. And then finding out, oh yeah, that's based on a comic. Oh, okay. I need to read that comic, but that, to me, what I enjoyed the first episode and two, but that made me go, wow, okay. This show that could go a little bit more serious than usual. The 1990 movie did as well. Like, not since the 1990 movie have I seen the turn. Okay, you could do more with these characters. I appreciate that. Sally, people in Hollywood, I dare fucking tease Seth Rogen doesn't think that, because he's a fucking idiot. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.